down at the lower area, kind of by the woods. You'll be able to see them a little better once I come around this corner. Now the okapi, a lot of people think it's related to a zebra because of the stripes that are on its legs, but it's actually the closest known relative to the giraffe. This okapi, it is a female. The way that you can tell the difference in the female and male okapis are by their heads. The males will have 2 bumps on their heads called ossicones. If you're wondering what that looks like, those are the bumps that are on top of a giraffe's head.
It's a funny looking animal. He's in a original.
Now up here on the left-hand side, you can see some pretty big birds that are down here by the water. Now those are saddle-billed storks. The saddle-billed stork can get up to 5 feet tall with a wingspan that goes up to 9 feet. It communicates with its fellow saddle-billed stork by clacking its bill together. Now if you kind of look up on top of this hill, some of you may be able to see on the left-hand side, there's a black rhino up there. I'm going to stop right up here. Now it's very special that you get to see that black rhino because there's less than 5,000 of them in the world. Now that is due to poachers poaching them for their horns. On your left-hand side, keep an eye out. There are some copper-colored antelopes out there. Those are bongos. They're also known as the ghosts of the forest. Those tilted back horns of theirs allow them to go underneath some pretty low underbrush. Now that rhino back there, its horn is made out of keratin and that's what it's poached for. They grind it down and they use it for medicinal purposes. Now the sad thing is it's never been proven to actually work. A lot of people think that the way that you tell the difference apart in the rhinos is by their coloration, since they are called the black rhino and the white rhino, but that's actually not the case. The way that you tell them apart is by the shape of their mouth. The black rhino that we saw back there will have a V-shaped upper lip, which allows it to grab onto trees and leaves, just like a giraffe's tongue, while the white rhino will have a wide mouth, which allows it to graze the grasslands. Now over on our left-hand side, we do have some pink-backed pelicans out there. Now the pink-backed pelicans, they get that name from the pink-backs that they get during mating season. They are the smallest of the pelican species.
Vultures?
Yeah. Bunch of vultures. Oh, and there's them.
Now as we cross over this bridge right up here, we're going to be seeing some Nile crocodiles on the left-hand side. If you see some with their mouths open, that is how they regulate their body temperature.
That's not very hot.
Now, if you got to see how big their mouth was, just think about this. They can have up to 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch of their bite. So that's a lot of pressure for one bite. But they're able to control it very well, and a way that they show it is the fact that they incubate their eggs in their mouth. Now coming up here on the right hand side, we are going to be seeing a baobab tree. It is also known as an upside down tree due to the fact that, well, it looks like it's upside down. It can go 9 months out of the year being leafless due to the fact that it stores most of its water in its trunk.
Everybody. There's not much out here, is there? There's not much out here at all. Wild dogs aren't even in there. There's usually wild dogs in there. There's usually animals walking. James?
Now these mounds that we're seeing on either side of us coming up here, these are termite mounds. The termites make them out of their saliva and clay, and they get to be as hard as cement. Well, elephants will use them to rub up against.
Very disappointing.
Well, maybe they just thought they wanted to see the termite. It's like very cold.
They must be feeding time.
Now up here on our right hand side, we are going to be seeing some little guys. There's one grazing and then several just laying in the grass. These are springbok. Now the springbok, they're very small. There's also going to be some up here on our left hand side for people to see much closer. They're only 3 feet tall, but they do get their name from the fact that they're able to spring straight up from a standing position 6 feet. Here they are on the left hand side.
Jump, jump, jump. But that's right, we're not. Oh, look.
See how small they are?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of look like s'mores. There's some laying in the grass over to the right hand side if you want a cute photo of them just laying there.
So you guys are late to the party.
There's a big horn.
Oh yeah, look at them. That's on them cattle.
That's a cattle, right? See him up there? There's a rabbit. What's it like? You have a rabbit. Spotted on the left.
There's a wild rabbit.
A little brown rabbit. Little rabbit. With little bitty ears.
There he is.
Now we have a group of giraffes, it looks like, on our left hand side. Oh, just 2 of them. But they're there. All the giraffes on this reserve, they are Maasai giraffes. You can tell the different species of giraffes apart by the shape of their spots. The Maasai giraffes will have jagged edges around their spots. Giraffes are commonly born at about 6 feet tall and are known for growing up to being about 20 feet. A fun fact about them is that they only need about 30 minutes of sleep a day.
Oh, the cars.
It's usually Rafiki money.
Over on the right side, we do have a male African. Oh, we have 2 male African elephants out there roaming around. We might see them again in just a second. The way I can tell you that they are males are by the fact that they're out there all by themselves. They're not with a giant herd like elephants usually are. You see, male elephants are usually kicked out of the herd or leave the herd at about the age of 15 due to the fact that they become too aggressive to stay with the rest of the herd.
Probably got a little man cave over there.
Since they leave at about the age of 15, they can either go off on their own or they can create their own herd, and it'll be a smaller herd than the other ones, and it'll be called a bachelor herd, and it will only be males in that herd. Well, that leaves the majority of all the other herds to be mainly just females, and it will be led as a matriarch style, meaning an older female will be leading that herd. On a hot day, you might see an elephant flapping its ears back and forth. Well, that's how he's cooling himself down. Elephants at the back of their ears have a lot of blood vessels. By just flapping their ears, they can cool their body temperature down about 14 degrees. They might also throw some dirt on their backs because that dirt will act as a natural sunscreen for them. Now, some of you may be able to notice on the right side, we do have some tusk marks in the clay. Now, elephants use their tusks to loosen up that clay in order for them to eat. They like the taste of it. There's a mineral that elephants like in the clay. Now, sadly, elephants, they are poached for those tusks. Their tusks are made out of ivory, and a lot of people consider that valuable. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but elephants are very similar to humans. They kind of have a curfew like kids do. During the day, the kids are allowed to go out and socialize with all the other elephants and go say hi to their aunts and uncles. But when it becomes nighttime, the little ones will find their way back to mom, and the families of the mom and dads, if they're still together, will find their way back to each other, and that way so they can keep each other safe from predators at night. Now, coming up very close to this truck, this is the Ankoli cattle on the left-hand side. Now, I do ask no one tries to pet it. It is still wild. Now, those horns, a lot of people think that they're heavy because of how big they are, but they're not. They're actually quite light, and that's going to be due to the honeycomb-like structure that's on the inside. Now, coming up here on the right-hand side, we're going to have a very large antelope kind of close to us. Now, this is a Patterson's eland. The Patterson's eland is the largest antelope on this reserve. They measure at 6 feet from the shoulder to the ground. Now, if you look a little behind it, you can see the white-bearded wildebeest back there.
There we go.
Wildebeest are known for traveling in some pretty large herds. Their herds usually range from 1,000 to 5,000, but they're able to merge with other herds when a predator is nearby to grow up to 1.5 million.
Oh, we scared him.
Now, an impressive fact about that Patterson Zealand is that they're able to jump straight up from a standing position 6 feet. And they weigh about 2,000 pounds, so that's pretty impressive. Now, as we come around this corner, we're going to be seeing several different animals. We are going to see greater flamingos, giraffes, wildebeest, and who knows, another one might pop out somewhere. Now, the greater flamingos, well, those are the pink birds that are on your left.
Little ducks over here.
Now, surprisingly, they're hatched gray. They don't become pink until they're 1 to 2 years old. And they're going to turn pink from the shrimp that they eat. A group of flamingos together is called a flamboyance. So what you're seeing here is a flamboyance of greater flamingos.
What's over here?
There's elephants on your left-hand side.
Look at him. Oh, look at the baby.
I'm going to stop here for just a second.
This was a cute review of our last driver.
Now coming up here on our right side at least, let's see if there's any on the
there's a
left.
rhino.
There's a white rhino.
This is where they came on.
Now this is the rhino that will have that wide mouth that I was talking about earlier for it to be able to graze the grasslands. We're going to hold right here and let him pass. Now as you can tell,
We have to wait. Stand up. Take a
Looking at us funny?
He's just kind of looking. He's posing for you, isn't he, Kyle?
I can't see his face. It's expression, Kyle.
He's looking like this.
well please stay seated at all times. Thank you. These are wild animals. We just want you to stay safe. Now this is a reserve, so this is a great example. They're allowed to do whatever they want. How many of you were stay seated at all times? How many of you were in that very long line earlier that was supposed to be shorter? Probably a lot of you. Well, the reason why it was so long was because we had a long animal stop.
Oh, did you see him sitting? He jumped when she made it.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
3 hours later, we're still sitting.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Well, at least it hasn't laid down. Should we name them?
No?
Now a group of white rhinos together is called a crash. So usually you would say that if there's like 3 or more, but there's just one here as we can see.
Stall.
It's very special that you get to see it for this long though, so this is pretty cool. Now if you can tell by the discoloration of it a little bit, there's a mud pit out to your left hand side. Rhinos use that mud pit to roll around in order to cover themselves in that mud, because that mud will act as a natural sunscreen just like the dirt does for the elephants. That's why it looks a little discolored in different areas, is because mud is still on him in some of the different areas on his skin.
I wonder if it was the same rhino for the long animal stop before. Check all these people out. Well, I stomped one foot. Keep talking. Sounds like he responded to your voice.
Yeah, no.
Please do not call to any of the animals. They are wild and you do not want them coming near the truck.
No.
We should time them. We should see or something.
Here it goes.
He said, okay. Everybody got their picture.
Photo out.
He was. He's a movie star. From Fantasia. He's going to come back and make the next one stop. He's posing for the file. That's what I'm thinking. He's going to
What's that? Oh, did you?
They just popped there.
That's his hobby. He's stopping Jeeps.
Now, if you look on the left-hand side, we do have a cheetah laying at the bottom of this hill. To the left, just laying there. Now, cheetahs, they are the fastest land mammals. They can get up to 60 miles an hour in 0 to 3 seconds, but they're unable to stay that way very long, only a few hundred yards. Now, unlike other cats, cheetahs do all their hunting during the daytime.
Maybe it's around the corner.
Rain and Red, they sleep for 20 hours a day. The opposite of giraffes. Oh, yeah. 3 of them. How many are there?
We've seen a lion and a lioness in here. Last time there was a lion there and a lioness up top. Oh, she's back on. Did you see him on the bottom? Yeah. I saw him on the bottom.
Now, coming up on the left-hand side, we are going to be seeing some warthogs. Now, warthogs use their tusks to burrow into the ground. You can actually see some burrows that they've made. And those burrows will be used as a home or a hiding place. Now we're going to have some more of those white rhinos on the right-hand side. We also have some bontaboks out there. Those are the antelopes that are laying on the ground. Now it's very special that you get to see the bontaboks because they were once poached till very near extinction. Now that is what I call a crash of white rhinos.
There you go.
Now the reason why those bontaboks were poached till near extinction is because of their coats. The bontaboks, if you saw them, they do have a brown coat, but when the sunlight hits them, they have a purple sheen to it. Well, because of that, they poached the bontaboks until there were only 20 left in the world. And that's when a farmer in Africa decided that he was going to do his best to try to save them. So he put a fence around his land, puts them on his land, and well, thanks to that farmer, we now have more than 40,000 bontaboks in the world. So he did a great job.
He's a good driver.
Now, a few ways that we can come together, help the ecosystem out, and a few of the animals that we've seen here today. One way is recycling. Now, recycling is a small way that you can help out that can greatly impact the ecosystem. Here at Walt Disney World, we do have recycling bins next to almost every trash can. That's just a little way to help out. Another way that you can help out is recycling your cell phones and other electronic devices. In those electronic devices, there's a mineral that they have to mine for. And when they mine for that mineral, they have to go into the natural homelands of a lot of these animals, which causes them to either have to get up and move, which can greatly shorten life expectancies, or those animals will be poached. So by simply recycling your electronic devices, they won't have to mine as much, which means we can help save a few lives. Another way that you can help out is donating. Here at Animal Kingdom, you're able to donate at every quick service and merchandise location to Disney's Conservation Fund. All those proceeds do go towards helping the animals we've seen here today and many more. Did you guys enjoy the safari today?
Yeah.
I'm so glad. We're not getting off here. We're just going to say hello to my friend, but we are going to be getting off at the same location where we started, so feel free to say hi to him.
Okay.
Jumbo!
Hi, bye.
You had a good time?
Yeah.
And we're gonna say hi to one more friend.
Because we have.
Jumbo!
Jumbo.
Well, I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed the safari today. I enjoyed having you guys aboard. It was quite fun. We got to have a really cool rhino stop for a while. Well, if you're looking for a few things to do without having to wait in any long lines, especially with this humidity that's going on, I highly recommend Gorilla Falls. Especially for you guys, you're going to be getting off on a ramp after you exit my vehicle, and that ramp is going to start you on Gorilla Falls. So I highly recommend just continuing on. There was a baby gorilla that was born just yesterday that's out on the trail. We also have many other animals, possibly some naked mole rats. Really cool things for you guys to be able to see out there. And once again, that's a trail, so you can go at your own pace. You don't have to wait in any lines, nothing. We also have another trek that's going to be over in Asia, and that's the